Alright, everybody, welcome to the G3 Is This Worded podcast, the first podcast that G3 is running. So, I'm here with Aaron, Marcus, Matthew, and I'm Sam. So, we're going to be going over the patch notes for 4.1 for the upcoming Season 4. I'm going to read through the summaries and what they have on the League of Legends website. And then we're each going to comment on how we think it's going to affect the lanes. Each person will have about 30 seconds to comment with about each other's experience in lanes and how they think it will affect us. So we'll start with vision code changes. So they're changing some of the vision glitches. So they're changing the with more responsive dynamics, interactive abilities like Lux's lucent singularity. So basically, they're just changing some of the visual effects that are happening within League of Legends. Ward sweeping abilities now cause wards to darken the fog of war. Steering. Oh my god. Okay, when they're disabled, projectiles will kind of from the fog of war. So like Nidalee's spear, we all get like one shot by it. You don't even see it. So now move down to champions. So the first champion we're going to go over on the changes and the patches is Anivia. So they've increased Nivea's basic attack speed of her projectiles, so it'll move faster with the animation. And they brought down the cost of Flash Frost and Crystallize. Also, her ult will not have a warning effect when she's almost out. When she is almost out of Glacial Storm range. So it'll be changing kind of like more
like Oriana's ult.
Like Oriana's ult. The farther away she gets, the like lower.
It's like her shield.
Yeah. And her basic attack, like I said, projectile speed will be increased to 1400 instead of 1100. Mana cost reduction on Flash Frost, which is her Q. Her W crystallization will be reduced to 70 reduced to 70 at all ranks. So overall, they're just reducing the mana cost on her Q and W. And her Glacial Storm, her ultimate, will now display warning particles over Anivia that only the Anivia player can see when she is close to the maximum range of her ultimate. So other players would not be able to see the warning that she has the farther she gets away. So first we'll give it to Aaron here for about 30 seconds on how he thinks Anivia will affect his lane.
Alright, Anivia, with the attacks, the basic attack increase, it doesn't do much overall, it just is a quality of life. She never really had mana problems with her Q and W. When you get Chalice or Robot, like, you honestly have her good for mana. Her biggest issue is her ulti. Her ulti just spams mana all day, so, like, until they change that, like, it doesn't matter what they do to her, she still won't be on the same tier as people that are strong like that, like Gragas and Oriana.
Okay, so we'll move on to Marcus now.
So I like the Anivia changes because I know it's a quality of life change, but it also makes it a lot easier to CS the basic attack speed or projectile speed increase. It'll make it a lot easier to CS, which will make her more viable some because a lot of the problems she has is CSing. The mana reduce is nice, not great, not like huge, but the ulti indicator I think is really good because I know when I used to play Anivia support, I'd walk out of the range all the time and be like, herp.
Okay, so we'll move on to Matt now.
Dude, I like the attack speed projectile thing, because, like, it's not like shooting a half shot anymore. Like, is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Oh, nope, I missed. Oh, crap. Gotta go for the next one. So I like it. It's not like shooting a three-pointer. It's still hard, apparently. The mana reduce is always nice, because you can spam. And my issue with her ult is that it gets stopped when you get CC'd by everything. Unlike, say, a Swain ult, which just continues. So
Yeah.
I think if they ever make that, like they ever change that, it'll make her a lot more viable, but she won't be viable at this point.
Okay.
Maybe support.
Maybe support.
Maybe support.
Alright, so we're going to move down to the next champion that got changed. So, Annie. Summary, Pyromania's stun duration is now shorter at earlier levels, but her Tiber's cooldown has been reduced at later levels to compensate for that difference in stun timing. So, of course, her Pyromania stun duration now scales 1.25, 1.5 to 1.75 seconds at levels 1, 6, and 11. So instead of straight from the beginning, her stun is automatically 1.75 seconds. It scales over her levels. So that will make her early game stunning ability a little bit less effective. And then they're going to reduce, they're going to cooldown reduce to 120, 180 seconds instead of 120 at every single level of Tibbers. So that will give her the ability to pop Tibbers down a lot more earlier in the later game instead of having the same cooldown. So we'll move on to Aaron with his comments for Annie.
What they're trying to do with these is to make Annie go mid. I've had a friend of mine that showed me some stuff on Reddit, and with max CDR, Annie now can keep Tibbers up for 45 out of 48 seconds. So all they're going to do is just increase the ability of mid lane Annie, because the stun, it's not that big a deal anyways. All you do is wave clear with your W and Q. So all they're going to do is make her late game just scary, because you can spam out 600 AP Tibbers every 45 seconds. Like, it's over.
Alright, let's go over to Marcus now.
So, thank Riot that they reduced the stun. Holy crap. Because early game, like, as a support, early game, you get hit by a Q, right? And you're just dead. That's it. That's not fair. That's stupid. Just because she charged stun in base. The Tibbers, I don't like that change as much. The goal, I think, is to bring her back to mid lane, but that's, like, it's only going to make her a stronger support by having Tibbers, like, constantly. She's going to be able to dump it whenever she wants. She can she can't flash initiate every time, but you now have basically, like you said, perma Tibbers. You have initiations whenever you want them. It's like a Leona alt cooldown now, which actually, I like it. Changed my mind. I like it.
Alright, so move on to Matt here.
They covered most of it with the stun duration. It's just my thing now is, will it be like Fiddlesticks? Because Fiddlesticks was popular until they reduced his fear duration, and then you don't see him anymore. So is Annie just going to disappear, or is she going to stay around? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
It still scales into late game. It says whatever it was, now it's like 1.25 or something.
1.25.
It's 1.75. Yeah. It's at that now at level 16.
Fiddlesticks net also scales,
1.25. It's at 1.25 late game. It just scales.
Okay. Any comments on the...
But it scales lower. Before it was at 3, now the max 2.25.
Alright, any comments on the ultimate, Matt?
Oh, the reduced cooldown's a little ridiculous. She's just going to like Tibbers everywhere. Just going to be like, hey, have a bear. And you're like, I don't want this bear, return it.
Okay.
Would you say that you could barely get away?
Oh my god, no puns.
That's one.
One pun,
Dude,
you get 3.
That was unbearable right there.
Here's 2!
We're done. Okay.
Next.
So we're gonna move down to Evelyn now, which is a really big one that I know we all hate. So
don't hate. That's the third one. Cause sorry, go on.
That's 3. Okay,
all
so the summary on Evelyn here is they slow down her hate spikes missile speed and change ravage damage from magical to physical. And Agony's Embrace now grants a shield instantly instead of after a couple of seconds. So missile speed is reduced to 1250 instead of 2000. Ravage now does physical damage instead of magic, so it kind of disables her ability to go full AP, and she needs to start going to hybrid at some point now. And her ultimate now gives her shield instantly instead of after half a second later after the projectiles return to her. So we'll go to Aaron here with his comments first.
Does anyone know the scaling on her E with AD in her Q?
The scaling on it? I can find out.
Like, is it like low?
I can find out.
Yeah. Alright, go ahead and look that up.
Yeah, with AD. Okay, but like that could change your game completely. Like I think it's time run AD Evelyn, and he blew up with Static Shiv, Ravenous Hydra. Now that his E, like it grants 120% attack speed on top of physical damage, like that could just completely change her from AD to AP. Or AP to AD.
It's 50 per slash, and you do it twice, so it's 100 total.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's gonna do a lot of damage. Like,
wow, where's my?
What?
So we'll skip to Matt. We'll skip to Matt for right now until Marcus looks it up.
I'm trying.
I beat it to him. That's what he's looking up. Anyway. The missile speed reduction is nice because you're like, oh, I'm running from an Evelyn, but wait, I can't run away from this. But you can run away now, which is pretty nice. Because she's just chasing you in your queue, and you're like, your health is slowly dropping. And you're like, well, this sucks. guess I'm gonna die. A really big change was how the shield is now instant instead of 0.5 seconds.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen Evelyn. They'll be like, "I'm gonna ult 5 people," but they die within the half a second, and they don't get the bonus ridiculous amount of shield.
Right.
So that's gonna be pretty nice. It's a good quality of life change.
Okay, we'll go back to Marcus now.
All right.
But if they
So
start-
as far as he was right on the. It's 100% on each. So actually, that's like kind of huge. I think adding physical damage to her kit makes her harder to itemize against. Now, obviously, it's not going to like make her break or make her physical. You know, nobody's going to build that much AD on her. I mean, they could because it also scales hate spike. But speaking of the hate spike cooldown or the missile speed reduction, it's heavy. It's big. It's 1250 from 2000. It's going to feel really slow, and it's going to be really hard to like chase people down with it. I guess I want to say, like, it's still going to hit, but I feel like
150 is still fast, man.
it's still fast, but it's not 2000. It's almost cut in half. So like, imagine what a hate spike looks like, right? It's like now it's like yeah, that doesn't look like much, but hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna comment on that before we move on to Jana here. Like, I definitely agree with that missile speed reduction. I mean, once an Evelyn gets behind you, you're screwed. I mean, she'll just instantly chase you down. You can't get away. Literally, she'll just hate spike the
I
shit
feel
out
like
of
this
you.
helps.
Yeah, I feel
I
like,
feel like
it,
this helps.
I feel like it will help with that feeling that you're basically fucked, and now you have the feeling, oh, I can actually get away, and you're not panicking. So
Remember, they didn't change the cooldown. They just changed the
Right.
speed.
It's
Yeah.
only the missile speed,
Yeah.
but that gives you time to see it and react. Like,
yeah, yep. I
as
feel like
opposed to
not as
getting
many
out.
people are gonna panic now because of. All right, so I'll move down to Jana now. So now Monsoon now channels immediately on activation, and the channel duration has been reduced. Additionally, they're increasing its heal per second and total heal amount. So that's the only thing they're changing on Jana now. So now begins channeling immediately and upon activation instead of having that 0.25 reduction. Or sorry, cast time that she has to channel at the beginning. But it is reduced to 3 seconds instead of 4. Also, the heal per second is increased to 100, 150, and 200 at 0.6 ability power scaling instead of a 70, 110, and 150 from a 0.35 ability. So they're basically almost doubling that. Almost. Not quite doubling it, sorry, more like a third. But also the total heal amount is increased from 300, 450 to 600 instead of 280, 440, and 600. So they're increasing that by a couple only for the first 2 scalings. And they're reducing the ability power scaling on that. So we'll go to Aaron here first with that.
She's still gonna be a weaker support. All this is a quality of life change for people like Omni that still play her. Like, she's still bad, but I'll let him defend her.
Oh, I'm going to.
Okay, Marcus, go ahead.
So I actually am a huge fan of this change because I know it's from a 0.25 second
We
cast
know.
time, but hey, the fact that like it's gonna heal more overall, it's gonna keep me from staying in one spot for 4 seconds. It's gonna be 3 if I channel the whole heal, because like 4 seconds is forever. 3 seconds is less time. Like even 0.25 seconds. The whole point of channeling it is to reset the fight, right? Like, you know, kick somebody out. If in that 0.25 seconds you can see me start to do it, if you flash past me, granted, yeah, that's not a lot of time, but it's happened to me. If you flash past me, you'll be shoved right into the person I'm trying to shove you away from. And if you're like Shyvana, that's what you want. So
Okay.
taking that away, yeah, it's a quality of life change. I like it though. The total heal is good. It's much more ability power, so there will be more viable builds coming from ability power for Jana, just
Okay.
based on her ult.
Alright, so we'll go to Matt now. See if he has anything to say.
She still has no vocal.
Looks like the heal is nice, and I'm excited to see how fast she can reset fights now. Oh, that was
Right.
a tongue twister. Because like before, you had the 0.25 seconds, but I would see Janice be like ult and then instantly die. Like half
Right.
the time the animation, like they wouldn't even get knocked back. But now that it's instant, you can it's a lot more consistent.
Like it's a guaranteed knockback now.
Yeah,
Okay,
and it's
so
like Gragas.
Yeah, it does improve her ability to knock back, but still, like, she's like even weaker than like Zyra, who has like a knock up. Like I still think Zyra's better, even though Zyra's one of the weaker ones. Janice, like, she has a really low scaling, and like the change at the beginning of the preseason just screwed her over.
I kind of agree, but I also kind of disagree.
Okay.
She's niche in her own way. I can talk about Janna for hours.
I'm not a support, so
Okay, so enough on Janna for
at least it's not Lulu.
At least not Lulu. Alright, so we're gonna move down to Jinx now. So they've lowered Jinx's base health, but increased her health per level. So they're also standardizing Flame Chopper's arm time, and reduces damage at earlier levels, and fixing the slight bug on her. So they're taking her base health down to 462 instead of 500, but increasing her health per level from 80 to 82. So I mean, not too big of a change, but excuse me. So, and they're taking her Flame Chopper's arm time to 0.7 seconds instead of 0.5 to 0.74. So they're reducing that by like 0.04 of a second, but we all know that could change fights, especially in the beginning lane. Also, they fixed a bug that would cause the chompers to sometimes not activate on champions dashing over them, which I've seen. It doesn't snare them when they dash over, but it'll light them on fire. And they reduced her damage at earlier levels to 80, 135, 190, 245, 300, instead of 100, 150. So they took it down by like 15 to 20 damage per level. So we'll go to Aaron with the first comment on that.
It doesn't. It's an overall nerf there, just because like the scaling. If the scaling health was higher, it'd be better for her because she's a late game champion anyway. Like you're not trying to like go super ham in lane. But the Flame Choppers is really nice to compensate for the lost health because it's gonna help defend her. Omni, like your face is so close.
I'm sorry, I just like lean forward.
Okay.
And it's over here, and I just.
Alright, go ahead, Marcus.
Jinx, right? Sorry.
Yep,
so
Jinx.
the base health is, it's what, 38 health from, yeah, she loses 38 health, she gains 2 more level, it's about even when you do the math. It's 32, you know, she loses 6 health overall at the end of the game. Whoa. Honestly, it's not that big a deal. The Flame Chompers is nice because it's standardized, so you don't have to wonder, you know, is it going to actually hit them or no? Because I've seen it as a support many times where it's been like, there's a Flame Chomp, they just walked away.
Yep.
What the heck? And, you know, when Vi dashes over it, that's kind of BS. So yeah. I like the changes. It's just to give her, it makes her a little bit squishier in the early game to remove some of her, you know, stupid power in the laning phase.
Okay, well, I'll move on to Matt now.
I'm glad they standardized it. I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place, because you know that would make too much sense, making things consistent. I mean, this is League. Let's be honest. I'm glad they reduced the damage, as I hate this champion as a top laner. It'd be like, I have no escapes, so I'll just kill you instead, and it's annoying. So I'm glad they reduced your damage.
Okay, so I moved down to a Nasus, which is a big one, we all know. So they've reduced the withering range and removing the increased wither and spirit range granted through Fury of the Sands. So they were taking the wither range down to 600 instead of 700, which reduces some of his chasing ability, so I understand that. And Fury of the Sands no longer increases the cast range of Wither's Spirit Fire, so he can't ultimate and then gain range to chase you down even more. So, go ahead there, Aaron.
The only thing that I could see this changing is maybe bringing Flash on Nasus a little bit more, because it's going to give you like that instant pop right to there where they are. Like the ulti, yeah, was nice, but it wasn't necessary. And whether they didn't change like the percentage slow, so it's not going to change the overall feel. Like all you have to do is just flash in instead. Like that's all I'm going to see is more flashes instead of ghosts.
Okay, go ahead there, Marcus.
I actually think it's the opposite, that we'll see more ghosts instead of flashes, because with Nasus, it's all about the chase anyways. So if you ghost, catch up, wither, you're still ghosted, they're slowed, you're gonna like on top of that, like, I don't know if I agree with removing the increased cast ranges. I agree with the range reduction in the first place for wither, because seriously, have you ever been withered? It's terrible.
It is terrible.
And then like, the problem is that's what made ulting with him, like, his ult is his kit. It's huge, right? It's major. It increases his auto attack range, all kinds of crap. So removing half of what it does, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm kind of on the fence.
That's also part of the problem. Once he goes godlike, you don't stop.
True. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, go ahead, Matt.
I'm glad they reduced the range because being withered is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Like, there's literally zero counterplay to wither,
Right.
and so
Except
just
for-
besides running away, and since now you can be farther away before he can hit you, which is nice. When he ulted and got increased range, it made zero sense. Like, why is he getting more range? Like, I understand the attack range because he's massive, but
And he
like
gets more
spell
health.
range, yeah, like spell range now, you're like, this is just a little bit ridiculous.
He gets more health,
And so-
attack range, and spell range. It's just
And
what?
attack
Not
damage.
to mention
'cause
AOE. Don't forget AOE percentage health damage.
Oh yeah.
It's not. It's actually, if you do the math, it's most of the time it's less than Renekton's actually, because
Yeah.
Renekton's base damage is so high. But he also gets the bonus AD from what he burns, though. That's what's ridiculous.
Okay, so
Yeah.
any comments?
Just it's a good all over nurse.
Okay, we're gonna move down to Rengar now. So they fixed a bunch of bugs with his savagery and tweaked his empowered battle roar. So savagery, which is his Q, his stabby stab. It's savagery basic attack buff, not attack speed buff, reduced to 2 seconds instead of 6. So that's a major change. It's like
That's huge.
that's 4 seconds. Which I do kind of agree with. His Q was a little bit a little bit ridiculous. So that's 4 second reduction.
Like 4
That's gonna-
seconds less.
Yeah.
It's time that it's on, like
that's
that you can
definitely-
activate it, like
It's-
from pressing Q to auto attacking.
Yeah,
is what that
that's
rate.
Yeah.
So they fixed also a bunch of bugs that allow Rengar to use savagery more frequently than intended.
Thank
Um,
God.
Yeah. So his W, which is Battle Roar, heal changed to 20 plus per level instead of 10 plus per level, and amplified by 1% per 1% of Rengar's missing health, instead of from 40 plus to from 40 plus to 20 plus per level health now. So we'll go to Aaron with that first.
Wait, so the heal is overall higher the lower health he is.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, savagery, that nerf completely destroyed Assassin Rengar because now you can't triple Q. That's gone. So now it's just going to be tank Rengar, and you're just going to see more Spirit Massages, and he's just going to keep spamming his W. Like, that's the only viable way to play him anymore.
Okay. So Marcus.
I mean, not necessarily. Like, just because you can't triple Q doesn't mean you can't blow somebody up. Like, you still have time to Q. You can still double Q, and you still have your team to come in. Plus, if you get on a squishy, like an Ezreal or a Caitlyn, you catch them from your ulti, you're still going to blow them up. A lot of times you didn't even need the third Q. Maybe early in the game.
Okay.
But
Yep.
the heal I like
It
because
was
it's
awesome,
not going to...
though.
There's counterplay to him now, like top lane, because his heal isn't redonk. Like, he has to hurt to heal, right?
Yeah.
So,
Redonk.
redonk. Completely redonk.
Okay. So move on to Matt.
I'm
Yeah, redonk.
higher.
Yeah. The reduced time on his Q is nice because now he can't just press Q and wait forever in the bush, and you're like, well, I can't do anything now because if I get close, I lose half my health. So that's nice. No more triple Q, which is fucking fantastic because holy shit. And the battle roar. So he was more at lower level. So yeah, tank Rengar is gonna get stronger, and he's gonna be much harder to kill.
Okay.
That's about all. It's gonna
All right.
change.
So
By the way, Omni's just saying that because he's support and he got blown up.
Oh, please.
we
I'm
all-
more worried about my ADs getting blown up. I play Leona. I don't get blown up.
It's true.
Okay, so we'll move down to Riven now. So they lowered Riven's base
Fair
attack
enough.
damage, but increased her attack damage per level to compensate. Additionally, her Broken Wings damage has been decreased, and Valor Shield duration was shortened. So her base attack damage reduction is reduced to 54 instead of 56.7. So I wouldn't see a big difference in that very much. Maybe, of course, we all know Riven's pretty OP like early game, so they may just be trying to nerf her a little bit to make people happy. So, and then attack damage per level decreased from 3 to 2.7. Again, I don't see a big change in that very much. Damage per strike decreased to 10, 30, 50, 70, and 90. instead of 40, 45, 50, 55, 60%. So what they're doing there is reducing her early game damage, but not her late game damage. Well, they are reducing her late game damage. They're reducing her early game damage and her late game damage, but keeping her mid game damage. So, excuse me. So wait a second. Per strike decrease. This is confusing me.
It's not a buff slate game.
Yeah, you're completely right. I apologize. I was reading the wrong thing. They buffed her late game damage, but nerfed her early game damage is what they did.
Yeah.
So, that will definitely help early game people top lane, with that really early game Riven damage is what they're trying to take out. So also her Valor, which is her shield duration, is reduced to 1.5 seconds from 2.5. So reduced by a whole entire second, which I could see being quite a bit of a nerf, especially 1v1ing top lane. Okay, so we'll go to Aaron first.
Why you say top? Like, I've seen her more mid than top recently.
I've seen a lot of
I've seen her
top.
more jungle than top.
Yeah, I've still seen a lot of mids. After Faker, like, it's over. But, like, oh my, don't bring that up. Like, the 1 second nerf on her Valor, that's really big early game, because that's what I used to all in at level 2. Like, I do QE, and then I just go in and tank everything with the E, and, like, it's gonna be all gone. I know it doesn't have a big shield at level 2, or it's E's level 1, but it's still strong enough to mitigate a lot of an AP's damage. The broken wings it's gonna hurt a lot, especially with her passive. But the late game buff is kind of nice, so it's just like stopping her from snowballing so hard, but it still gives you the damage to kill carries late.
Okay, we'll go on to Marcus here.
Oh, Riven nerfs. No, but seriously, like this needed to happen. I like the shield duration reduction because since it's a self shield that also grants her mobility, having it last for 2.5 seconds and be so huge. Like late game, how many times is she just dashing everywhere already? And she's got she takes more damage on her shield than she does on the champion itself. And the Q scaling is nice because we're not going to see the 2 minute 30-second all in top anymore. If they even wait that long.
Yeah. All right, we're going to Matt here.
Man, wait.
All right.
What are you? You go on at 2.
There's a big change to Broken Wings none of you mentioned, which I'm grateful for because I actually get to say something now that hasn't been already talked about. They're changing her Q scaling from total attack damage from bonus attack damage.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't
So-
know that.
Oh.
Thank you.
So
for
what
correcting
that
me.
what that means is now she doesn't scale. Like when she gets a BF sword, it would scale off of bonus attack damage before. So then it would just be like here's all this shit ton of extra damage. Now it scales a little bit less, so she doesn't snowball as hard, which is really nice because you give Riven 1 kill and you're like, well, there's the game. That was fun.
She does more when she's behind, but less when she's ahead.
Yes, which is fantastic because yeah, like I said, you give Riven 1 kill top and you're like, my lane's over. What do I do?
GG. See you in 30 minutes.
Right? Like AFK.
The thing is, if you play Riven like you do LeBlanc,
Hey, now that's gonna start happening.
So it went
I
from,
play Riven like I do my LeBlanc.
so it went from total attack damage from bonus attack. Okay, I understand. Thank you for correcting me, Matt. Okay, so
Good catch.
we're gonna move. Yeah, thanks for catching that. We're gonna move down to Shyvana now, where they're lowering her burnout overall damage and her flame breast damage at earlier levels. So taking out of a lot of her early game overpoweredness that I've seen between her AD and her tankiness. Dragon's Ascent also received a bug fix, and the damage now matches the tooltip that it was given. So damage on burnout, which is her W, her AoE, damage per second reduced to 20, 35, 50, 65, 80 from 25. So it brought it down 5 damage from scaling. So 5 damage less scaling, which will take a little bit of the damage away. Minimum magic damage reduction to 60, so it's down 15 damage scaling, and maximum magic damage also reduced. That's reduced 25 damage, around there, 25-30 damage. So that will definitely be a big impact early and later. Her flame breath damage is reduced at earlier levels, so it's 60 100, 140 instead of 80, or sorry, it's 80, 115 to 150 instead of 60. I hate myself right now. 60, 100, 140 from 80, 115, 150. So it's reducing her early, a lot of her early game potential. And damage now correctly matches the tooltip at 175, 300, 425 instead of 200, 300, 400. So that was kind of a big mix-up on right there, I feel like. Alright, so we'll go to Aaron first on this one.
I think this nerfs jungle Shyvana, but like it doesn't really affect top because like once you like all you're doing is just poking with your E, yeah, that it does nerf some of the damage, but like if you get in close enough with your W, all you're gonna do is just keep poking them down with a 2% 2% damage that the E gives. Like that's all I did, and then like you just ult in to finish them. You don't use it as like a chase or like as the CC. So yeah, jungle is gonna go down a little bit, but I still think she'll get strong in top, especially against Mundo.
Alright, Marcus.
Alright. I actually think it's going to affect her pushing in top lane because she won't be able to just AoE clear everything while out trading you, while beating the crap out of you, while taking your tower, while, you know, having some tea. So she literally, like, she has nearly no counterplay to the point where even Nasus's Wither doesn't bother her. Exactly. Just what? What are you supposed to do against that? She's just so strong right now. So I actually really like this. The Flame Breath is whatever. Let's be honest here.
Alright, so as a top laner, I can talk a lot about this one. It's the W burnout is actually a huge nerf because a level 1 Shyvana will beat anything in a straight up 1v1 just because of her W plus auto attack damage. Like there's nothing that you can trade with that evenly. So by nerfing the damage, you can have a little more like area to trade without being completely shit on. And then the Flame Breath is nice because most Shyvanas max that second, and so it just reduces the little poke damage because that sucks. And then her ult does less damage at level 6, which is good because then you can't. It's harder to get all in. So it's just an all-around nice nerf. Makes it easier for counterplay.
Okay, so.
Do you really max E second?
Yeah, who doesn't? Why would you not?
I've been playing Shyvana wrong all this time.
Because Q gets reduced by auto attacks, so there's no point in.
Well, oh, I think he wants to talk. He's got his hand raised.
He does.
Okay, go ahead, Aaron.
No, I just want to say, Matt, do you think this will deter people from maxing E and just start maxing W in top lane more?
Oh, well, you max W first, always. I'm saying you max E second. And even, because top lanes are in lane for, like, what, the whole game now, approximately?
Yeah.
It's a 4v4 anymore.
You do?
Everyone does, except
Pretty
for
much.
professionals. And we're not professionals, so we don't do that.
I was maxed E, but I guess I'm doing it wrong.
We both suck at Shyvana.
E is better in, like, a 2v1, but you usually want to max W, because, like, no one can trade with that. Except they might be able to now, which is nice.
Okay, so apparently we're all playing Shyvana wrong except for Matt. Okay, so
Hashtag support.
Even, Matt doesn't
Yeah,
play
pretty
Shyvana,
much.
she's just banned, so that's fine.
alright, we're gonna move down to Thresh now. So,
Okay, we're all wrong then.
yep. So Thresh, summary, they made it more obvious that Dark Passage is a clickable item, which is his lantern, and gave it a small collision radius, so now you can't just walk through it. Which should give you some blocking ability with it, which will be okay, I guess. Also slight increasing the time it takes for the box to form, so the channel time on his box. So his W indicator, an indicator particles to show nearby allies that it is a clickable item, and not just like something that popped up in the middle of the lane. And now has a very small collision radius, so you can't run through it. You have to go around it now a bit, which I guess could slow down minion waves. I don't know. I don't see it as that big of an obstacle. And the delay on his wall forming, so you've all seen Thresh, so his wall forming is increased to 0.75 seconds instead of 0.5. So it's a quarter of a second, which I could see being a pretty big deal in team fights. So we'll go to Aaron here first.
Yeah, it's actually, now that I think about it, from 0.5, I didn't realize how long it was already. Like 1 second after you click it, the wall comes up, or almost a second. Like that's actually pretty long. The W change doesn't affect me because Omni never uses his Dark Passage anyway, so whatever.
Click the lantern. Click the lantern.
So many people doing that. Why aren't you clicking my lantern? Okay. Okay, we'll go to Marcus now.
I am super thrilled about the fact that it has a goddamn collision radius now, because nobody's gonna step on my lantern, right? Like this is why. Like now you can't step on a lantern, or you can step on a lantern, but you won't be able to like block it as easily. You can't drop a ward on it. You can't. Minions can't walk over it, so you can actually click the lantern, which means that it's basically just up to your teammates here. They removed the counterplay, kind of. Like you can still stand on it. Like if you're like an ulted Nasus, you stand in front of it, they're obviously still going to click you and not the lantern. But they've reduced the amount of ridiculous things you can do to just deny his dark passage. Nice. And the box is nice because team fights are a joke sometimes. When you can just like
I missed
box.
the ward.
Okay, Matt.
The ward was awesome.
Go ahead, Matt.
I'm really pissed off about how they changed your lantern, because I love placing wards down when people threw a lantern. They're like sitting on attacking the ward, and you're like, "Ha, it sucks to be you. Now I'm gonna kill you." So like, getting rid of the counterplay kind of sucks, but at the same time, I guess it will help you try and escape when you have a thresh. So
it's not all gone.
I understand why they did it. I just liked the way it was because it had a lot more counterplay to it.
Well, they're taking away most of the counterplay, and I'm not sure if that's just an overall direction of the game or if that's just a champion.
I don't know.
And then I'm glad they changed the box, because now Thresh has to actually think about where he is before he places it. Because before he'd just be like, all right, here I am, putting it down. Now he has to be like, well, at 0.75 seconds, where are they going to be? Are they going to be gone? Or where, now he's got to think about it a little bit more instead of just being
it's
like, I'm
going to
going
be
to
more
clip everyone.
advantageous. It's going to be more advantageous to hook first.
Definitely. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Alright, we're going to go down to Yasuo. Thank God, finally. They do this every time. They come out with an OP champion, and then they nerf him like 3 weeks later. This happens every time. So apparently they smoothed out his gameplay overall and made a Steel Tempest auto smartcast, which actually that's kind of a good idea now because you can aim it. Additionally, Last Breath now gives maximum flow when cast and has a slightly shorter animation. So he properly applies the 10% critical strike damage reduction to static shiv critical hits, which apparently he wasn't doing before. So improved the functionality of his E, which is a sweeping blade to Q. So they made his combo a little bit smoother and easier to do, which I could see because he is a very hard combo champion to play. His Q now automatically smart casts. His W Windwell no longer blocks friendly Syandra orbs, which I don't even know it could do that. So his Last Breath, which is his ultimate, now grants him maximum flow, which gives him a shield right after he comes out of it, shortened by 0.1 seconds, which I don't know what that's going to do. Now less likely to be teleported out by enemies spamming flash. I haven't seen that either. Of course, I haven't been playing that much lately. And now properly alerts spectators and allies when it's on cooldown. Okay, so we'll go to Aaron first.
The smoothness is really necessary because, like, when you try and keep an E on the third proc when you have the knockup, like, I can never hit that. Like, it's hard to hit it as a skill shot. It's impossible to hit it as a combo. So it's nice overall. And I still think he's gonna be like as easy of a champion as he is. Like he still has these little things where it's like it's hard to play overall. Unless you have a comp built around him, like it's still hard to play. Like the Lulu, and like Lulu or like Wukong, like that's perfect. Like until like he has a comp built about him, like he can't carry game on his own.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Marcus.
I hate Yasuo.
Don't
skip.
we all? You're gonna skip. Okay.
That's all I gotta say. I don't like
Matt.
Yasuo.
Okay, Matt, go ahead.
I would say overall this is actually a buff, if anything, because
Really?
yeah, like his 10%
I guess
critical doesn't apply to static shiv. Well, whatever. I'm just hitting you for like 25 less if it's 200 damage. Oh, 225. Oh my god. And then his Q simpers are now smart cast. That's nice. It just makes it easier to use. You can't block your Cinder's orbs because that would suck. Be like, oh, well, there goes all of our AP's damage from my own teammate. Yeah, and there's a huge buff on his ult, giving you that the shield when you come out, because you're in the middle of the enemy when that thing ends, and they're going to turn and kill you. But now you have a chance to actually survive beyond being in the middle of the enemy team, which is pretty nice.
Okay, so there's a couple minor changes and bug
Omni, what do you?
fixes.
What? Oh, right, camera. I'm singing. Leave me alone. I'm listening to music too. Hashtag things Omni does right here.
I'm just gonna fly through these minor changes and bug fixes. They're just bug fixes.
I want Luxus and Talons.
Yeah. So Caitlyn, her ace in the hole fixed a bug where visual effects would continue even after the projectile was destroyed. Now have better visual feedback when their ultimate will not hit its target. Darius's ultimate duration after kill when Darius can recast. Guillotine increased to 20 seconds instead of 12. Actually, I'm gonna let you guys comment on that one because that one's kind of interesting. Because that's a pretty big.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's a minor change. I think that's a pretty big change. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, like that actually makes Darius relevant again. Like, yeah, it's not the same as like having it spammable like whenever, but 20 seconds like a team is actually like a long. It's like a short team fight. Like, I can't unless you're running extended team fight comps where you have like spamming heal or something like that. Like that's actually really useful now. Like you can run Darius in the fights and just have him execute all day.
Yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
So, I mean, you remember when he was released and he could just ult every time he got a kill or assist with it?
Yep.
I feel like they're trying to like tone it back towards that without going completely off the wall like it was.
Yeah.
So I feel like because 12 seconds is not a long time in a team fight. It's really not.
Yeah.
20 seconds is kind of okay. Like unless it's one of those team fights where it's like wombo combo GG. That doesn't count though. Like in an actual team fight, 20 seconds sounds about right. But is that after every kill? Or is that overall? Actually,
duration after kill when Darius can recast.
if that's every kill, that's broken. Never mind. If it's total, that's okay. I don't know how Darius works. I don't play Darius.
It's
I just know it
I think
used
it's
to.
just after the first kill.
No, it's after every kill.
Oh, it is.
Is
Oh,
it?
Shit.
20 seconds.
20
Wow.
seconds. That's like a full minute.
Wow, that's like that's true damage.
Dude, it's not gonna change him at all.
No,
like,
yeah,
It's literally, we're not gonna see any more or less of
It's
him. He just
Literally
gets kited.
quality.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Even then, it's just useless. There's really not a point. It's just, oh, we have that one asshole who plays Darius. Let's make him feel better.
Right.
That's what this was. Because, like, he just gets kited, and then he just dies. That's about all it is.
Where's my Talon buffs? Like my real Talon buffs then?
Okay.
I know.
Let's
It's
move.
just like making
Dude,
a bad.
All right, let's move down to Fiddlesticks now. This one they're planning on making, not quite yet. But it went out accidentally. Oh, okay. Well, they put it in an
Whoops.
accident. They're taking it back out. They fixed a bug where his Terrify would cause enemies to flee in a straight line rather than in random directions, which I can see being a big deal because you fear him and he just keeps walking away from you.
I'd be
my
mad.
God. I would be mad too. So we'll go down to Fioria now.
Take him into your team.
I know, right? They
Bug
fixed a
fix.
bug where she could teleport while casting her ultimate. I haven't seen that, but that sounds kind of buggy.
Wait,
Um,
who?
Down to,
You're invincible too.
yeah, no. We'll go down to Hecarim. His W amount healed now correctly matched the tooltip, so they're fixing the tooltip. Jarvan 4 fixed a bug where his martial cadence would sometimes trigger on towers. That could be a pretty big bug if you're fighting under a tower.
10% of your tower's health.
Yeah, no. So Lux, her ultimate now goes on cooldown when it finishes casting instead of while being casted, which gives you a few like maybe a second and a half like lesser cooldown, I suppose. Which is stupid anyway because she has a 30-second cooldown. If Lux dies while casting it, it no longer goes on cooldown, which is also
Thank
a
God.
problem. Which is also a problem. Which will be in the next one I talk about. Malzar's ultimate now halts the target movement if they were being moved by a friendly effect like dashes or jumps like Thresh's
Or
lantern.
Thresh.
Yep. And this exact same thing, that's a really big problem with Name that I've been having, is if she dies while casting her tidal wave, it goes on cooldown. It no longer does that.
Thank God. Because
Yeah,
that's
no.
such a waste of my cooldown.
It's so annoying.
And it happens so often.
You get halfway casting it, and then you die and you lose it. And you have to wait like 3 minutes. It's stupid, I don't know. Now it goes on cooldown when it finishes
minute 20.
casting. instead of when it begins casting. So it does the same thing basically as Lux's. Nidalee's W, which is their trap, now fixes a bug where it could be placed in walls. I don't know.
What?
I've never seen that. I've never seen that.
You've never seen that one before?
No, I've never seen
That one's so annoying. You're like, I'm gonna
Really?
put a trap here, and it's in the wall. And you're like, all right, only Lee Sin can hit that one. What is this?
Even Lee Sin couldn't hit it.
If Nidalee casts a trap that would fall into a wall, the trap will instead be placed on the nearest non-wall position, less than equal to its maximum cast range.
Actually, can I say something about
yeah,
that?
go ahead, Matt.
It's like what you can do with the wards. How you can put them over those huge walls now if you aim it in the direct, like right in the spot. So you can do that now with Nidalee traps.
Yeah, that's true.
It can
But there's
actually,
no wall that you can't go over.
The big one in mid lane. How there's the huge tri-bush by blue. You couldn't go over that.
There's
but
a
if
couple
you
that you
place
can't
it,
get
yeah,
over.
there's a couple that huge
you
walls you can't go over. Now you can place it better because it would half the time it would go on the wall, like it says. But now you can do that. I don't know. It
Yep.
seems pretty nice to try and be like, oh, am I getting
It
ganked?
says less than or equal to Bushwhack's maximum cast range, so maybe you can't.
Actually, it's my
do
string
that.
words.
It says that about wards, but you can do it with wards. I don't know.
All right, yeah, whatever.
It's
Alright.
League.
so
Just go with it.
we'll move down to Olaf. They reduced his slow percentage by 7, or I think 7, from 29, 33, 37, 41, 45, from 35, 40, 45, 50, 50. So they basically reduced his slow by about 10% per level, per level. So I suppose, like, I've seen, like, the game I watched tonight, the 2 that I casted, and the one where Olaf was played top lane.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Olaf is just so stupid with that undertow. So I could definitely see that playing a bit of a difference in games.
Then nerfs jungle left.
Yeah. Talon, his E, cutthroat, now teleports Talon slightly further behind his target instead of, like, basically right on top of him.
Matt would like to say something.
Incoming talent buffs.
Dude,
Wait,
that's like a massive buff. Like,
Oh yeah.
holy shit. Now you don't miss your W anymore. You're like, I want to teleport on this guy and cast W, and then it goes like off the screen somewhere, and you're like, what the hell? Where'd it go?
That was honestly one of the biggest problems with Talon. Is
That's
you would,
why I quit playing it. Now I might play him some more.
Well, 'cause you
now
would
I
E
can
and,
actually,
like- be in front of him.
what is this? Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Okay, and then now Twisted Fate wildcards targeting indicator updated to show the individual targeting lines. So instead of being like, oh, you're gonna shoot it and like a cone, it actually shows you where it's shooting now.
It's like Cossack.
Well, that only took 3
Oh, that's
years.
That only took
It's true.
God.
so it's like Kazakhs.
Yeah, right.
It's like
Like, this should probably
it's like Kazakhs, yeah.
Yeah, it'll look like Kha'Zix
Yeah.
is, I'm assuming.
Now, if
just show Kha'Zix. It's a random cone. It is.
they would make Twisted Fate useful again. That'd be great.
So we're gonna move down to. Oh, sorry. Do you have a comment?
I was gonna say I think he'd be a great support, but
Yeah.
he
So-
grants vision.
Yeah, that's true. So we're gonna move down to items now.
He's gonna make me play Talon Pin.
So, now Rabadon's Death Cap, they just fixed the tooltip, no big deal. Spirit Visage reduced cooldown to 10% instead of 20%. That's a big one. So I'm gonna
Thank God.
give that to Aaron first.
Like, it doesn't affect me too much in mid, except like if on the occasional Vlad play, but like overall, like that'll nerf like every time. Like, you're not gonna get max CDR off of like Frozen Heart and Spirit Visage anymore. You're gonna have to actually build like CDR boots or something as well.
Okay, go ahead, Marcus.
So
I could see them changing other items as well, making it all 10%, like nothing will get 20.
I was gonna say, yeah, like first off, the fact that it even has 20% and it's a top laner item is redonk. We're gonna go back to redonk. Redonk. It's just
Yeah.
like it's part of the core build.
Easy.
Everybody builds a goddamn Spirit Visage, and 20% CDR for like on top of all the stats it gives, on top of the regen, on top of the increased healing, on top of the, cool, like, well, I mean the cooldown
Top of
reduction is
everything.
what we're talking. Yeah, on top of everything else, it's just like 20% CDR. Like, I don't even get that good items as a support. I have to buy like Athenes or Morellonomicon, which are not bot lane items.
Yep.
But yeah, they should have to build more cooldown.
Okay, Matt.
Run all comment.
It's everyone's still gonna build it. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect us because The main reason we bought it
Yeah.
is for the bonus healing and the magic resist. Like, the CDR is nice, but 10%, that's like, what, 2 seconds on some spells? Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that much of a difference for a tank who just stands there.
Well, it's kind of big on, like, Shen, for example. He has a global ult.
Who plays
Like,
Shen?
the bigger your cooldowns, the better that is. Now, it's not as good. Like, it's not, you build this, you win. Like, Renekton's ult, for example, is going to be a little bit higher cooldown.
8
that
seconds,
kind of stuff.
I
It's
believe.
like 4
Hey,
seconds.
8 seconds is 8
at that
seconds.
point.
It's true. Okay, so we're gonna move down to Sunfire Cape, which is a big one. Magic damage has been changed to 25 per character level instead of 40. So give that to Aaron first.
It also scales with the champion level, which is it overall nerfs the item because late game everyone's gonna have MR, so it's gonna be pointless anyways. Like once you get to past like level 15, when everyone has some form of MR, then like the damage is minimal anyways. So I just see it as an overall nerf to the item.
It does.
It's still gonna be built.
It does explain as the changes have reduced the overwhelming power of the early Sunfire Capes. So yes, that would make sense. Okay, go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, it's really all it is. It's just early Sunfire Cape wins the game. Like, wins the lane. I shouldn't say the game. But, if you get a top lane on Shyvana in, 10 minutes and you're against a Renekton who just has a Giant's belt, GG.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, it's just weaker early, but stronger later. That's about it. So,
I agree.
It might actually still be built first item, because the main reason it won you because you got the bonus armor and magic resist. I mean, not magic, health. So those were the 2 big stats on it.
The biggest
So,
thing
like-
about... Go ahead, sorry.
It'll allow counterplay. Like, you won't be like, oh, I can't even touch the guy now. Like, you can still fight him, but he'll still be, like, pretty strong just from those 2 stats. Let alone the constant magic damage.
Definitely. Did you have something to say, Marcus?
I was just going to say, because, No, not really. You covered it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so
Sorry.
you're
sorry.
fine.
Do you think people build Randuin before that or no?
No.
It might become more attractive, but not necessarily like it might open up more things first. But I can't see it being terribly. I mean, it's gonna
Do you think maybe it's like a Warden's Mail and just Fear of
right. Yeah, like maybe build something else first instead of Sunfire Cape, just because it does less. Like the full point of Sunfire Cape is to be fighting for a long time. That's how it does its damage. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move down to jungle items now. They completely changed jungle items. So now on every single jungle item, now gives 8% of damage dealt to monsters back as health and 4% as mana. So instead of giving you that health and mana regen, it now gives you 8% damage to monsters' health and 4% as mana. So it's gonna basically, the more you whack them in the face, you're getting health and mana back, which I think is a lot better than the mana and health regen, because of the fact that you have to wait. But while you're fighting red buff, you don't want to wait while your health and mana are regenning, but you're getting it back instantly while you're fighting red or blue buff, which I think is a really good idea. And Spirit Stone no longer has Bane passive. Spirit Ancient Golem hasn't changed at all except for that major change. Spirit of the Spectre Wraith has a big one actually. Now grants 2 ability power for every large monster killed, but with a maximum of 30. So I'm gonna let you guys comment on that one. So Aaron.
Okay, that's actually a pretty big change because like early game, if you get the golem like pre 10 minutes, that's really nice. But if you don't get it by like 15, like honestly, it's not going to be worth it because after 15, you're going to start going with your team, and you're not going to clear camps often. So I don't think it's going to be as necessary for someone that maybe gets a different item first on it. Like Madrid is still terrible, but like if you don't rush the spirit item, it's not going to be worth it because like late game the passive is better than the constant regen from camps because you're not doing it as often.
Yep. Marcus, anything?
It's going to be an item that maybe junglers look to sell in a longer game, perhaps. Like you said, like after 15 minutes, you're not really clearing as many camps. Like you're still clearing camps here and there, but you're going to be running conservation stacks for a long time. The passive change is absolutely nice. I'm thrilled, and maybe somebody somewhere will buy Spirit of the Spectral Wraith now that it grants ability power.
Eve does, and Momo does.
Yeah, that's 2.
I actually forgot to mention too that the 8% and 4% giving back on the health and mana is half effect for area of effect spells.
Right, so it's just like Lifesteal and
That's way
Spellband,
more
which
fun.
all that really changes is AoE clear is going to give you less, but it's going to equal out because you're hitting everything. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're hitting 3 things.
Like,
So
think about rates.
technically-
yeah,
Mhm.
it's more because if you hit half, but you hit 4 targets instead of 1, you're getting twice as much.
Yep. You're
So
getting.
it works out.
You're getting. Ow! I just hit my head. You're getting like 16% back instead of 8. So you're getting like
8.
double in certain camps. You're getting a lot more back.
Well,
And then-
it's 16 instead of 32, so it's a nerf either way.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's all the ones on the jungle items. So now, the last.
Do I get to say something?
Yeah, sorry.
Do I get to say something? Well, on the spectral rate, it used to be 8% for both health and mana, but now it's only 4% has mana. So, in my mind, the only reason they were like, here, have this 2 ability power per large monster, just be like, we're apologizing for that 4% mana. Now we're actually going to make you go back to base once every 30 minutes instead of once every 15 minutes. And so, I don't know, it's whatever. I don't see a big difference in that item. 2 ability power, like, unless you're jungling Vygar, it's not going to make much of a difference.
With Jungle Fire.
I'm jungling Vygar.
I'm gonna do that just for you, Matt.
I'm gonna
I
go
hope-
Jungle Janna now, just to super troll. I'm gonna build a Spirit of the
Oh
Spectral
my-
Wraith and be like, I'm sorry guys, I
I'm
thought it
done.
was good.
Okay.
Hey, she gets bonus AD from her shield.
Yeah,
And a
that's
shield.
true. So we're gonna move down to Summoner's Rift, where we kind of had a thing going on before the podcast about this. It's all about the turrets. Outer turrets no longer gain bonus armor, magic resist for the first 8 minutes of the game, and top and mid lane outer turrets now have 20 damage reduction for champion basic attacks. So we'll give that to Aaron first, but we'll try to reduce the time a little bit so we don't get in a drawn out argument.
Oh yeah, but yeah, what Omni said before the show, like, split pushing is pretty much pointless, or lane swapping is pretty much pointless now because every lane except for bottom has the passive armor and bottom lane doesn't. So are really fast. But if you leave bottom lane to say take top, that your lane's gonna be down. They're gonna have dragon before you even get their tower. So like you lose game if you just lane swap.
Okay, go ahead, Marcus.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and take the easy way out and quote Monte Cristo. I think they are absolute crap. The changes to the turrets, because 2v1ing now is stupid. It's like if you go top lane with your duo lane, you're gonna lose your tower first because you're doing much less damage to it. They're gonna take your bottom tower, and then they're gonna rotate to dragon and take that too, since they have man advantage. And you still haven't even taken that top tower. I mean, you might have taken it by then, but still, like 1 tower for 2 objectives. The lane swapping's done. It's done. It's done. It's over.
I do. Go ahead, Matt, and then I have a comment.
So the bottom tower no longer has the damage reduction. So are we going to see fast pushes bottom down? Because the way I'm a top lane, I don't know exactly how bottom lane works, but the point is you want to be down there as long as possible farming, correct?
Sometimes. It depends on your AD.
That's like the AD carry. They're like, I want all these items as fast as possible, so I need to kill things. So is this going to make it where the laning phase is over even faster, to where they can't get the farm? Well, I just watch you dance. Anyway.
Sorry.
So like,
Keep forgetting that I'm on camera.
I'm talking to you though, because you're the support. Like, so is this gonna change bot lane? Like, can you not get as much farm now since lane phase will be over faster potentially?
What I think it's going to do is it's going to create this dynamic. You're going to have 2 types of bot lanes. You're going to have the farming bot lanes, and you're going to have the shove and rotate bot lanes. Now, a shove and rotate would be like Lulu Caitlyn, for example. Somebody who can shove that to the tower. That tower no longer gets the 8-minute resist. It doesn't get the damage reduction the other towers get. So whoever in bot lane can shove that tower faster and not die for it is going to be, out ahead. And the other team's going to, you have to pick... You have to, there's 3 lane compositions you can do total. You can do those 2 and you can do a kill lane. And I don't feel like kill lanes work so much anymore with the first blood reductions and all that. It's not as worth it to run a kill lane. Now it's going to be super worth it to run a tower push, but not a lane. Oh, we lost somebody. Oh no, we got him back. I don't know. I think it all depends on your AD, whether you're going to stay or go. Like, a Vayne is going to stay in that lane whether the tower's dead or not. Caitlyn's going to rotate after she kills the tower regardless.
Yeah,
That's just how it's going to go now,
definitely.
I think.
I definitely feel
After
like
8 minutes, like she'll rotate top because the armor will be gone.
But either way, I really don't... Because it means if you lose bot lane, you lose bot lane.
I mean, I think it eliminates that beginning lane or beginning game. Like you get those top and mid champions that just really want to push that lane and immediately put as much pressure as possible. And straight off the bat, like right at the beginning of the game, straight off the bat, 20 damage reduction from champion basic attacks completely eliminates at least like 1/3 to like a quarter of your basic attack on that tower, and that's gonna eliminate, I feel like, a lot of that, a lot of the pressure champions and a lot of the push lane champions in top and mid. So
I feel like Caitlyn's going to fall off.
Wait, think about it. Like, what mid laner loses tower pre 8 minutes, pre 10 minutes? Like
That's
the only
true.
time you lose tower
The ones that
is
we
if you
rotated
die,
on.
and by then you've lost tower anyways.
that's true. I agree on that, but I feel like top lane is always that push lane where you're pushing and pushing and pushing and put as much pressure as possible. And I feel like it's going to eliminate a lot of that push ability at least top. I have seen mid.
Yeah, top.
I have
see.
seen mid. I have seen mid push, but I totally agree that not that many mid laners push pre. They do a lot of exchanging and just farming.
It hurts Ziggs.
It does hurt Ziggs.
It does
you're
hurt Ziggs.
right. Ziggs is a
And Lich
heavy,
Bane, but not...
Yeah,
you know,
Ziggs is a
that's
heavy.
not gonna matter.
Ziggs is a heavy push champion on mid, so I do agree. There's certain champs on mid that will affect, but I think it will affect a lot of top lane champions that need that push ability.
Honestly, I think worse, it's going to make mid lane harder to shove down.
You know what?
Think about LeBlanc. She's not going to shove that tower.
Yeah, that's true.
Ever.
You know who this buff stopped playing? Proxy Singed, because minions will actually do more damage to towers now.
He's right.
Because since towers no longer have armor or magic resist, minions actually do more damage to towers.
That'll be
So
interesting.
proxying will take the tower down faster, unless the enemy responds correctly.
That'd
What
be
I don't-
interesting, yeah.
What I don't get is why they went
Well,
through
he
all the
will-
trouble to make
Well,
these
Singe was
buffs and take
playing
away.
Singe was playing role championships. He was never nerfed, and then no one touched him afterwards.
It's true. I haven't seen many Singes lately.
That's because people understand how to respond to proxy Singed.
Okay, so
Fair enough.
alright, are we done with that one?
I think so.
Okay.
My elo does.
It wasn't a 15-minute conversation like it was before.
Yeah, that's true. We kind of got that a little bit more organized. And then the last thing we're going to go over in this first podcast is new player experience. Players new to League will now have a static roster of free champions to play during their first few levels, after which they'll use the normal free-to-play champions. Free-to-play rotations. So they'll have a just like a set of champions that they can play and not in that rotation. So a lot of beginner champs, like Ashe maybe, I'm guessing Ashe is in there.
Garen, probably.
Garen's
Yeah,
probably
Ashe.
in there.
It's
Yeah,
Definitely not Lee Sin.
recommended ones.
I mean, we've been playing this game for God knows
Yeah.
how long, so this really doesn't affect us, but I
Right.
mean, I can see this being very friendly to new people that are coming into the game.
Yeah.
But it says they're not our goal is to improve the way players learn to play League of Legends when they're first starting out. These champions were picked because of how easy they were to learn and how enjoyable most new players found. Okay, so that, by the way, that's me quoting League of Legends, so don't get me from plagiarism and arrest me, please. So
He spent, I think, Garen's fun to play.
oh god. Okay, so I mean that will definitely be very friendly to new people, I feel like, and give them because when they first start they have that rotation of champions, and a lot of those champions have a higher learning curve, and I feel like that kind of affects how new people come into the game, you know what I mean? Like, they can come into the game when a hard rotation is on and be like, oh, this game's really freaking hard, like, this is going to be really difficult to play. But now they'll start with easier champions that have more of a basic kit, and it'll give more of an approachability to new players, and not coming in and having like Yasuo and Jinx free to play for the week, and they're like, God, how the hell do I play these champions?
Dude,
What's a
wish they had-
Yasuo?
I wish they had this when I joined. Like, the day I logged in and downloaded the game was when Lee Sin came out. So I'm sitting here playing the game for the first time, and this guy kicks me into the enemy tower, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, what do I do? This guy's jumping all over the place and kicking me, and I'm like, where are the easy champions?
Oh my god.
And then I found Ash but it was awful.
One of the first free
So
champions.
he was the original insect.
I mean, I've been playing since beta, which was the first 40. So I mean, I know every champion that's came out and how to play him. So, I mean, I've never had this problem when I was new. So I mean, you know,
Right word.
113, 15 champions now.
Yeah.
Plus,
No,
going
Yeah,
up.
what else we need to talk about before we wrap this
We
up?
need an outro.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
you
117.
guys are. Oh, okay. How about half bullshit, half business? This
That's
has been
mine.
This has been half bullshit, half business. Is
Hey,
this awarded
hey, no,
G3
Omni, you need to say
podcast?
this is officially awarded. We're
Is
good
this worded?
I don't know. Is this awarded?
Is this worded?
Dude,
Should
do we have like a Twitter page?
Has this been worded the whole time? Holy crap,
No,
guys!
it
I'm gonna go
is
get my
officially
sweeper
awarded.
trinket.
We're good to go.
Hold on, I'm
Do you-
getting my sweeper trinket.
Someone get your Oracle trinket. Hurry up.
All right,
Do
I
we
got it.
have like a Twitter or Facebook page? Because we should
All right,
totally like
I can see the
shamelessly
words.
promote ourselves. It's
Um,
time to whore ourselves out.
I don't know. I have gggaming3.com on the top of it. But that's
If you
Oh,
if
dude,
you like us and want to hear more, go to that website and join because we're fucking awesome. At least I am. I'm not sure about Omni.
we're
He's
all
kind of
pretty
a
cool
loser.
dudes. It's a pretty cool place. You should come check us out.
He's got sunglasses on. You can't see.
Yeah,
him.
but he's like he's so white. It's just I'm blind.
Yeah, dude, I have to
Sunglasses.
reduce the glare. Okay.
It's pretty awful. He's like the creeper. Just watching
I'm reducing
young
the
boys
damage from
play video
sunlight.
games.
I'm taking one less damage from Leona's passive. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, being white, it's too bad.
Is this worded?
I feel like that's a good way to end it. You're taking one less teams from Leona's passive.
GG. Well played.
GG.
See
Okay,
you next time on the Rift.
This has been the first G3 podcast. Have a good night. It's like 2:15 in the morning. We're surprised we've all been up this late. It's been like an hour. So,
We're gonna do this in 30 minutes, like 6 hours.
GLHF on the Rift, ladies and gentlemen.
so I guess we're all gonna go to bed. So that's the end of the first G3 podcast. Thanks, guys.
Later, bitches. See ya.
Later.